this XEIGU G90 transceiver a couple of years ago. It's a nice little transceiver. It's a 20-watt all-band, not unfortunately all modes. It doesn't do FM, which is a real shortfall, seeing as it will go up to 10 meters. But I've had some good reports on it in terms of, audio quality and so on sideband. The other day I went on 10-meter sideband, and I was kind of alarmed because the little SWR meter that's on the display started going well into the 3-to-1 SWR range, and I thought, well, there's nothing wrong with the antenna. I've been using another transceiver on that antenna. So anyway, I did just sort of verify that the antenna was fine, both with a VNA, a vector network analyzer, one of those little $75 things you can get on eBay. And it showed on all the bands on my trap vertical that everything looked fine. Very good SWR. And also the scanner on this one has actually an SWR scanner. And it was showing that the antenna looked fine. But as soon as I transmitted, I saw this high deviation on the SWR meter on my voice peaks. So then I thought, why not try one of these cheap and cheerful, simple SWR bridges external to the radio to see if it correlates with what the radio was showing. And sure enough, it did. The SWR was high. So then I swapped it over to my other transceiver, whose internal SWR meter shows that the antenna is a good match. And sure enough, on this SWR meter external to that radio, it's showing a good match. So I thought, well, how could this happen? Could the output impedance of the radio have changed in some way? A change in the output impedance on the radio certainly would create some high SWR, because that was the common denominator. It seemed the radio was causing and reporting a high SWR, whereas any other radio or any other SWR analyzer was showing that everything was fine. So then I thought I'd dig into the manual a little bit, and you know how these manuals are with Chinese equipment. They're less than informative at times, but I did find one thing in the G90 manual, and that was, and just by accident I came across this. It's talking about a pilot frequency receiving and sending operation. I thought, well, what the heck is that? And it said it's characterized, or it's set on by having this sort of double arrow between the A and the B VFOs on the display. And you can switch that off by hitting the second function button and then pressing this little guy here, which is labeled AGC SPL. By hitting the second function button, you're activating that SPL function. So that shut it off, shut off the double arrows. And I then tested the transceiver again, and lo and behold, everything was fine. The SWR remained very low, even as I, peaked out at 20 watts on voice. And so I don't understand what this function is. It's called pilot frequency receiving and sending operation. And they describe it like this, that the G90 has two built-in independent VFOs, which respectively set different frequencies and modes. And it can conveniently achieve pilot frequency receiving and sending operations. So whatever that means. But if you find that you've got that double arrow on your display, you may not be getting the power out that you think, because you might have a mismatch. Now, I don't know if that's because of the specific frequencies I had in my A and B VFOs, but it was sure messing up the operation of the transceiver. Just as an addendum to this video, what I discovered is that when the B VFO is within an amateur band, that the problem goes away. So we'll just do a QRZ here. QRZ, QRZ is this frequency in use. And you'll notice that the SWR meter barely budged. So now you notice I've got an out-of-band frequency on VFO B, and I've got the double arrow between the two VFOs. And look at the SWR, it's bouncing up and down. QRZ, QRZ. Now there may be other hams out there who know how to use this split function on HF for other than FM repeater operations. But personally, I'm not one of those hams. I don't know how you would use it, but I'm sure it's a useful function, and it's probably found on other transceivers as well. So if you are operating split, and that's shown on the front panel on the G90 by that double arrow. If you're operating that way, make sure that even if you're not doing splitting between the two frequencies, just make sure that both the VFO A and VFO B are set to ham radio frequencies. If, however, you have VFO B set to, let's say, 15 megahertz because you want to quickly check WWV by hitting the AB button on the front panel of the radio, and you have VFO A set to a ham radio frequency and you're transmitting, you may well encounter the same problem I did. That is, you'll start seeing your SWR go absolutely bonkers. So in that instance, if you want to have a non-ham radio frequency set up on VFO B, you should go into the function button, hit that AGC SPL button, and make sure the double arrow is off. So hopefully this is of some use to you and you know the drill. Please give it a like, subscribe to the channel, and we'll see you in the next one.